Okay, well, Falcha Mór Rove, agus caiithí mé ar aga bhfuil mé go háan sásta a bheith aráis in Éireann, agus tá mé an sásta fástal le Gerry an cás seo a London. Hui mé an sin cion más a thuirt den na daoine a fuair bás agus na daoine a bhí gortha san pléascán. Agus bhí mé an fásta a cosint an cúis poblachtánach agus an cearta winter na Éireann a bheith sir. So I want to welcome the decision by the claimants to drop their case against me. I attended the case in London out of respect for them, and this decision brings an emphatic end to a case that should never have been taken. I contested the case. I defended myself against the false accusations being levelled against me. I asserted the legitimacy of the Republican cause and the right of the people of Ireland to freedom and self-determination, and I do so again. During my 2 days of evidence, I categorically rejected all of the claims being made. I'm glad to have been one of those among many who brought an end to the conflict, and we now have, through the Good Friday Agreement, a peaceful and democratic way to go to a new Ireland. And that needs a renewed focus. That means trying to build an Ireland that's respectful of all its people, that's tolerant, that's based on equality and respect. I want to thank all of the people who expressed support for me, the Sinn Féin team that worked very, very closely with me over some time. I want to especially thank Clet, my Van Céile, and our family, and I want to give a big wheatus more to my legal team for their exemplary work. I have nothing but sympathy for the claimants. I was moved by the testimony of the two men who came forward and told of their own personal difficulties and circumstances within the explosions and following the explosions. And I know many victims were standing outside a building here that people were killed in. Family members of mine have been killed, so I know what, I've been shot myself, so I know what it's like. I think they were badly advised. I think they were badly advised from the very beginning, and the responsibility for that lies with the legal team that brought the case. But at times it verges upon a show trial. Anonymous secret agents of the British state hiding behind a screen. Others who were up to their necks in the subversion that the British state visited upon people of this part of the island of Ireland. Many members of the intelligence services who have been found responsible for collusion, and others not by anyone other than the British government's own commissions and inquiries and investigations. So it clearly was, I said at the beginning of the trial, it clearly was an unorthodox and strategically important political case taken for that purpose. I don't fault the claimants for that. Why did the lawyers decide to take this course of action? I wouldn't speculate. How do I know? But I do know that they were making their closing statements, and they must have thought they were going to lose. It's hard to know what state the legacy process is in, or even if it exists in a proper form, because the British government have torn up the commitments which were made way back at the Stormont House Agreement. They've walked away. They have refused to give families their entitlement even to inquests and so on. We have consistently argued for a genuine truth and reconciliation process, and I argued back in the day for an international dimension to all of that. We can't have the British presiding over it. The the Irish government have a big responsibility. The British, as I understand it, are working with the Irish government to get some agreement on what happens in the legal process. But that includes the British government letting their own forces get off scot-free. And the Irish government cannot, I think, acquiesce to that. But look, the issue about victims is deeply challenging. And we do have to find a way of dealing, and we use the term victims, and all victims are different. Some victims are deeply troubled, some victims are the best supporters of the peace process, some victims are getting on with their lives. We need to find the very, very best way to deal with the issues on the terms that the victims' families want, not the terms I might want or anybody else, the terms that the victims' families may want, and that's something that we will look to in the future.